Sandland is one of the many lesser-known Akira Toriyama mangas in the West, along with works like Dr. Slump and Kajika. Although to be fair, compared to Dragon Ball, everything else feels lesser known. Sandland was released as a 3D anime series not too long ago, and now we can enjoy this Toriyama work in the form of a video game as well. However, a lot of shonen anime games usually fall flat and have a cheaply made just to squeeze more profits out of an IP reputation. Does Sandland fall into the sand trap, or is it a refreshing oasis amidst an arid desert? Let's find out. After years of human war and greed, Sandland became a harsh, near uninhabitable desert. You play as Beelzebub, a fiend prince who steals resources from the royal army for the survival of the demon village. One day an old man named Sheriff Rao comes to the village to ask the fiends for a bodyguard, as he plans to go on a dangerous trip. Rao wants to go on a journey to find the legendary spring, a large source of fresh water in the middle of the desert. He wants to find it in hopes of alleviating the water shortage problem that's prevalent throughout Sandland. Beelzebub agrees to go on this adventure with him, and so our protagonists set out on this journey of discovery, redemption, friendship, and mystery. The game stays true to telling the original story of the titular Sandland. While it keeps the general story as is, it also tries to take different approaches to the original work while adding on to it. For example, in the manga, the story is told from Rao's perspective, but in the game we take control of Beelzebub and see things unfold from his point of view. It adds more to the story because it gives you a more innocent, almost naive lens to view the narrative. It highlights a simpler way of viewing the heavy topics Sandland talks about, as Beelzebub is a very simple-minded fiend. The original work is quite short, so if you play this first and then read the manga later, it may leave you wanting. While the game has added more to the story, the additions feel natural with regards to the primary source. Sandland tells the tale of people who have lived through the consequences of the actions of powerful people, who would do anything to foolishly cling to power as the world crumbles around them. And the game tells that tale very well. Despite the game's cartoony aesthetic, some of its themes really hit home, discussing some very real-world problems. War, politics, environmental degradation, and prejudice are all touched upon in this work in a fairly simplified way that even kids could understand. So if there are parents around there who play video games with their children, this might be a good game to pick up if you want to have a teaching moment with your kids.
Maybe we really should teach that granny a lesson.
We also have a cast of main characters with very distinct personalities, making for an interesting party. Beelzebub is the hot-headed gung-ho kid who's actually a couple thousand years old. Then we have Rao, who serves as the foil to Beelzebub with his calm and wise demeanor. Thief is the smart yet reluctant sidekick / advisor to Beelzebub. And Anne is the courageous mechanic responsible for upgrading and maintaining our arsenal of vehicles. It's truly a fun experience watching this party deepen their friendship with each other and pull through hardship after hardship while uncovering the secrets of Sandland. Sandland's gameplay is an open-world action with a lot of emphasis on vehicular gameplay. The action portion of the game is fairly shallow, maybe even the weakest point of the game. On-foot combat is boiled down to just jumping, dodging, strong attacks, and weak attacks. There are skills that you and your companions can learn, but I rarely find it necessary to use them when spamming weak attacks can do the job. On-foot fights feel even more lackluster when you get to the point where you unlock the first vehicles. It's easily the best part of Sandland's gameplay. There are 6 vehicle types, each with their own unique use cases and forms. The tank is the first one you get and is the basic tutorial vehicle. Later in the game, you can get more vehicles like the biped jump bot that helps you get to higher terrain by, well, jumping. Some fights will also have you experimenting on which of your 6 vehicles is the most effective mid-battle. It's also fairly easy to swap vehicles in the middle of a fight, so making full creative use of your arsenal is something that's very much encouraged. Once you get these vehicles, which you can access in almost every fight, you no longer have any incentive to fight as Beelzebub. Fighting on a vehicle is just easier and is also more fun than the shallow fistfight mechanics. The various customization options available at the mechanic can also make the vehicles even more unique. There you can upgrade your vehicle's weapons using materials you've collected. You can even change out various parts in order to boost certain stats, so you can build your machine to perform a certain way. There are also more options for visual customization when you unlock the paint shop, where you can change the look of your vehicles. I'm a boring person though, so I just left my vehicles as they are. But I'm not alone in being boring because the open world of Sandland is also kinda boring. To be fair to Sandland, that is a complaint that a lot of open world games get. Filling a world with interesting things to see and do is quite a challenge after all. Most of the game's side quests are fetch quests and there's not much to do other than collect materials and take down very easy enemies when you're moving from place to place. Although I did enjoy the side quests that let you recruit people to move to Spino. Spino is a rundown ghost town when you arrive. That's when you pick up the side quest to recruit various people from all across Sandland to move to Spino. Imagine Terrytown from Breath of the Wild. The more you do these side quests, the livelier and more renovated Spino becomes. More stores also pop up in Spino the more populated it becomes, so you stand to gain from restoring the town as well. But also, it just feels nice seeing what was basically a scrapyard turn into a well put together town once again. Sandland's graphics are probably the most standout part of the game. Akira Toriyama's art is beautifully and faithfully recreated in a 3D medium. It captures the late mangaka's timeless art perfectly. The character designs remain true to the original work, almost as if it was ripped straight out of the manga. The game runs well on the PS5, as expected, but also runs fairly well even on the PS4, if you don't mind the slower load times, that is. Sound effects are done well. The sound effects are the cherry on top, especially when it comes to the vehicles. The tank and jump bot sound effects have that heavy machinery feel that conveys that you're riding a huge hunk of metal. The music also does a good job. The calm music played when you're in a town is lovely and is just what you need when you're going over your materials and customizing and upgrading your vehicles. The voice acting may be a hit or miss for some, but we think the voice casting for the English dub seemed fitting for the characters. Our big gripe with the voice acting isn't so much the acting itself, but the dialogue. It seems like there's not a lot of overworld voice dialogue recorded, so a lot of it gets repeated when you're just roaming around. There are even dialogue lines that get repeated even though in terms of the story, it doesn't really make sense anymore.
We could reach it if we had a vehicle that could jump. We could reach it if we had a vehicle that could jump.
So let's get back to the question we asked at the start of the video. Is Sandland the typical bare minimum effort shown in anime game adaptation? Wow, that's a mouthful. Well, not quite. It fares a lot better than the usual bare bones game. Looking at you, Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash. While it is a better gaming experience compared to other anime games, it's better by just enough for it to be slightly above average compared to its peers. As an Akira Toriyama tribute, there are better games out there. Chrono Trigger and the Dragon Quest games are undoubtedly the biggest names when it comes to Akira Toriyama's footprint in the gaming industry. But Sandland also does well in that it also puts into the spotlight an often overlooked Akira Toriyama work. Not only does it do that, but it also adds to the work by exploring the world of Sandland more and offering a different perspective with which to view the narrative. That's why we're giving Sandland a 7.6. So that's our take on Sandland, but what do you think of it? Do you think it did better or worse than our score? What's your favorite Akira Toriyama related video game? Tell us in the comments below. Like if you like, subscribe if you want more video game related content from us, check out our other videos, and we hope to see you in the next one.